Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to review the 2017 horror movie Ghost Stories, a film that was doing the rounds in 2017 at the festivals and things, but is really getting its release now in 2018. And this is an anthology movie, I suppose you could say, and in regards to international audiences, the only real recognisable face you'll see in here is Martin Freeman. But for English audience members, there's a couple of others you'll recognise, one of them being Paul Whitehouse. Now, this is actually, and I didn't realise it's based on a stage play, which I found very, very interesting. And this is a film that focuses on a Professor Goodman, played by Andy Nyman, and his main goal in life is to debunk all paranormal events that he is given to investigate. He wants to prove that it's all a fraud, and he's got a TV show called Psychic Cheats, something like that I think it is, and his goal basically is to prove that it's all a fraud, and that all these paranormal experiences that people have can be explained away. And his inspiration for this has been years gone by. There was another guy on TV many years ago who did a very similar thing to him, who just disappeared off the face of the earth, and nobody knows really what happened to him. And that was his inspiration, really. And then out of the blue, he's contacted by this guy who was on telly years ago, and he asks him to come and visit him. And while he's there, he is basically asked to investigate 3 cases that this guy could never ever falsify. He could never find a reason to say that these cases were false, and he wants him to try and to investigate them and to see if he can. And he's feeling pretty confident about this. It's Professor Goodman. And these 3 cases are essentially, the first one is Paul Whitehouse, who is a night watchman, and throughout this shift that he explains, there is a lot of spooky things start going on. The second case was about a young lad called Simon Rifkind, who experiences a terrifying event driving home one night after a party. He runs something over, and then he is then haunted by something, chased by something. And the third case is the one that involves Martin Freeman, who discusses a poltergeist event that he experienced some years previously. And they are all kind of interconnected, and they all, it's very, very difficult because I'm careful about what I'm going to say because I don't want to spoil anything. They all have a connection, and essentially that connection is Professor Goodman himself to a certain degree, and when you watch the movie you'll understand why. Now, I've been really looking forward to seeing this movie. I thought the trailer was great. I've heard a lot of good things about this. Really, really great cast, really good idea, and it looked scary and spooky. And I have to say, guys, I really did enjoy this movie. I thought it was brilliant. I mean, I like a good anthology movie. It's not strictly speaking an anthology movie. It is in the way it's structured in a way, but it kind of flows better than a traditional anthology movie, I suppose you could say. There is some really freaky stuff going on in here, and it taps into people's fears really effectively. I mean, the first story, I mean, I briefly worked as a security guard when I was younger, and the story with Paul Whitehouse, where he's stuck in this darkened warehouse that he's got to patrol once an hour. I had to do something like that years ago at this depot, and I had to walk around this yard in pitch black and scan things to make sure nothing had been stolen, and it was scary at times. That really triggered my fears, that one. That was very scary. The second one, I have to say, the actor that played Simon Rifkind, a young actor called Alex Lawther, I thought he gave an incredible performance in this second story. It was completely out of whack and off kilter. Very talented young actor, I think. And I just didn't know what to make of his performance. It was fantastic. Really, really good. And his story, like I say, was again tapped into fears really well, like, you know, cars breaking down darkened woods and something chasing you. I mean, that's most people's fear. And that's the ice cream man. And the third story, the Martin Freeman one, was arguably even more disturbing. Each of the stories were incredibly effective and incredibly frightening, I would say, and filmed really well and tapped into people's fears excellently, I have to say. And then, after you've kind of gone through the three stories, it goes off in a direction in the movie that I completely did not expect. I have to say, I didn't expect it to go in the way it did. But the clues are all there throughout the movie. They're all placed perfectly. And it was very, very clever how it's put together. It's one of those movies that once it's finished, you're thinking, I want to rewatch this because I'll be able to piece things together much better on a second viewing. Like a little puzzle piece that's put together really well throughout the movie, and when you at the end of the movie you kind of think, right, now that all makes sense, but you want to watch it again to see how those puzzle pieces are put together. So I have to say, guys, really wonderfully constructed movie, fabulously made, well acted, well written, and really, really effective in its scares. I found all the stories effective, in their own way, very, very scary. And I have to say, yeah, this is a really, really good scary horror film that I think, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, will definitely, hopefully you should find effective too. Really well made. So for me, guys, I'm going to give this movie, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. And I do think this year we've been absolutely blessed with some really brilliant horror movies, and this is another one really for this year. I think we've had some good horror movies this year, and this is another one to add to the collection. Really good, really effective, and for me, guys, this is a recommendation. If you get a chance to see Ghost Stories, go and do it. I think it might well give you a nice little scare. So thank you very much for watching.